what relation did the Big Bang have with the Genesis as described in the Bible? I think that as scientists, what we try to do is come up with a better and better working model of how the universe works. How do objects behave within the universe? How do they interact with one another? And so on. And the properties of the universe. What is the age of the universe? And these kinds of things. We don't really ask sort of what the purpose of the universe is, or why you are here, why we are here. And many physicists would even say that we can't even really ask what was around before the beginning, because you can't really test that, because there's this one universe, and how can you test for what was before the beginning? Religious beliefs, of course, are based on faith and tell you sort of how to conduct your life and what your morals maybe should be and what you might turn into after death and things like that. And these are beliefs based on faith. And many scientists have many different faiths, and in general they find no real conflict between their faith-based beliefs and what they're trying to do as scientists, figure out what the laws, quote-unquote, of physics are, and so on. And they treat the scriptures more as a metaphor, perhaps, for how the universe was created, or as an allegory or something like that. Most would not take the Bible literally, in that, the universe was created in 7 days and all that. Or even if you do, you could say, well, back then, what was a day? Maybe it was a billion years or something like that, okay? But most scientists, I would say, even those that are very religious, and there are many, don't take what's called a literal interpretation of the Bible. Now, you could say, well, what if we do take a literal interpretation? Then you would have to say that everything that we measure as scientists is just a figment of our imaginations, or has been set up in precisely this way to make it look like the universe is 14 billion years old, to make it look, based on the geologic strata, that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, and so on and so forth. It would all have to have been set up. And I cannot believe that a creator would design a universe in precisely such a way as to deliberately fool it, arguably one of that creator's most magnificent creations, as far as we can tell. Now, there may be other very intelligent creatures out there, and there probably are, but on this earth, we are pretty magnificent, and I just cannot believe that a benevolent creator would have done that. So I reject the hypothesis that this has all been set up. If you accept that it's been all set up, then I could say, well, your whole life was just the last 1/1000th of a second, and the whole thing is a figment of your imagination. I cannot disprove that, okay, but it could be true. I cannot disprove that all the geologic strata were laid down to fool us, but I just don't think it's true. But I cannot use science to disprove these hypotheses. But nor can I use science to prove them. So I would prefer to keep science and religion completely separate. Each has its own turf. Each asks questions that are best answered within its own domain and address different aspects of human life and belief systems. So I think in general then there's no conflict. If you insist that the whole thing, that everything that scientists measure is wrong, then in fact there is a conflict. But most scientists would say that there is no conflict between religion and science because they don't take things that literally. Okay? That's the best I can do, I would say. Yes?
She has you. That means yes. Well, you better. Yeah.